So one of the key principles, perhaps the key principle for letting go, which we know is essential for the awakening life, comes from the great Sufi poet and master Rumi. Rumi says, "Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it." This is a powerful teaching, a key teaching, and it points us really clearly to one of the most common errors that we make on the path, which is that we make the path into a practice of seeking for what is missing. Whatever we call that missing thing or state of being, in this case, Rumi is calling it love. Other teachers call it wisdom. Some call it truth, consciousness, God. What do you call that missing thing? It's the thing that we believe that we lack and we need to get. But when our practice, he's pointing us towards this understanding, when our practice begins with this assumption, then we're off track from the beginning. The task is not to seek for love, God, the divine, the awakened. It's not to seek for that. It's to seek for the barriers. Remember, St. Francis says, what we are looking for is what is looking. What we are looking for is what is looking. Who is the one who is looking? Who is that seer? The one who remembers. There is love, there is wisdom, there is the sacred. But when we turn around in consciousness, what do we find? What do we find? We don't know what's there. What we do know and what we can know and what we can seek are the barriers, the projections, the ideas that seem to separate us from the radiance, from the love that is omnipresent. So rather than seeking what is omnipresent, which doesn't make any sense, it's omnipresent. Rather than seeking what is omnipresent, the guidance is to seek and to recognize the barriers, to seek and to see through the veils that obscure that remembrance, and to lovingly deconstruct the beliefs, and to gently and wisely loosen our emotional commitments to an identity based on lack. So what we seek and what we bless is what we are not. We're not the memories. We're not the history. We have the memories, we have the history, and these can actually be wonderful resources, deep wells of knowledge that we can draw from. But they are not who and what we are. Each barrier that we encounter, when we believe it to be solid, when we believe it to be enduring, when we believe it to be who we are, then it does act as a barrier. But when we can meet the barrier, any barrier, belief, assumption, identity structure, worldview, when we can meet it with loving awareness, then that which seemed to be a solid barrier is transformed breath by breath into what some traditions call a door. Knock and it shall be opened. The knocking is the breath by breath blessing. Some traditions call it a gate. Others a portal. It's a portal into a deeper revelation. that moves from what we are not into the abidance and the presence of what we are. Remember the watchword from the Vedas, lead us from the unreal to the real. We enter through the gate of the constructed barrier, the unreal. We see it as it is, and we move through it into the presence. How often do we have to do this? How many barriers are there? We're on the path, remember, of seeking those barriers, not seeking the truth of our identity, which we are, the omnipresence, the radiance. We're on the path to seek that. How many will we find? How many? There's a clue in the Buddhist tradition. The Bodhisattva vow says, Dharma gates, that's those portals. Dharma gates are boundless. They're boundless. I vow to enter them all. Boundless, not finite, and the path. So the path isn't, it's summertime now when I'm recording this. It's not like one of those summer road trips that you might have taken with your family where you're sitting in the back seat going, how much longer is it? Are we there yet? Yeah, you're already there. Exactly, you're there. You already are in the center of the mandala. You're already in the embrace of the beloved. You already are the seer. You are that which is seeing and seeking itself. And you're seeking the revelation of what Yogananda called the ever new, ever unfolding bliss, which is the paradox of this whole journey without departure, of the whole story without a sound, of the whole path that is endlessly arriving. We are seeking the barriers without end, because with each arising of a barrier, there is the opportunity to see through, to bless, to dissolve, and to expand in that dissolving, and to deepen the revelation of the radiance that you are. Now, there's a subtle teaching, of course, which is this. You don't have to seek the barriers. You just have to recognize them. They are as boundless as the blessings of life itself. In fact, they are the blessings. So your task is not to seek love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it.